Hey, what's going on, guys? I want to do a video in terms of how to start trading currencies, right? Currency is a super liquid market. We don't really have to worry about any kind of volume, um, liquidity, or spreads, and so on. I mean, basic currencies that you really want to be trading at are these 10 on here, right? The most popular one is euro dollar, right? The other one you want to be looking at is euro yen, right? So generally, the euro, the US dollar, the pound, yen, the Aussie dollar, the Swiss franc, and New Zealand dollar. These are really the main key currencies around the world, and these are the ones that you and Canadian dollars. You want to be trading something which is super liquid, right? Something that's being liquid, something that's being traded around the world. And yeah, so I mean, if you take a look at these ones, so let's do an analysis in terms of first look at the charting. So I'm using this Thinkorswim platform. So first thing first, you want to see in terms of trying to find support and resistance, right? If you look at this chart, I mean, this is chart since 2014 and so on. I mean, you want to see, I mean, if you, there's a couple of ways to analyze this chart. One way is you can try to look at the whole thing, right? So if you look at this whole chart, what you will see on here is, let's do the drawings. So this is a key number that actually, a key area, right? Let me just actually do a drawing on here. So do drawings. So this is a spot where, you know what, the price actually keeps on hitting, and the price actually, before it used to be resistance, right? Resistance is it bounces, it goes down, bounces, it goes down, bounces. This time it actually broke up, right? Now it came back, it became support. So that's one way to look at it. I mean, I don't really want to look at last 3 years. I mean, there's quite a bit of data on here. If you're looking to actually try to do swing trading, or if you're looking to do day trading, generally 3 months to 6 months of past data is a good idea to take a look at, right, to see where the past support or resistance were, right? You can use 3 months if you want, right? So you can always look on the weekly chart as well, take an understanding of where the direction is. So on the weekly side, right, I mean, it came down and so on. So it's bang at the support again. Right now, whether the support is going to hold or not, we don't know. But looking at this on the euro dollar, right, on the euro dollar, you see it's at support. Now, the question really is, do you want to buy it next week? Right, if you go on the daily chart, I mean, you see on the daily chart, I mean, you see on here, if you look on the trends, right, you have higher highs, higher lows. I mean, this region is kind of a spot where it actually has a lot of trouble all the time, right? Let me do this. Drawings, right? So these are the regions where it has trouble, and this is the region where support. So overall, if you look on it, it's kind of moving in a range, right? On the daily chart, it is moving in a range. So there's really no trend. So your idea really is, you know what, this support hold is going to bounce back up, and so on. So that's euro dollar, right? That's overall trend on the daily chart is down, but right now is actually going sideways, right? If it actually breaks this and goes back in the region we talked about, then maybe you want to take a look at it. Let's look at pound yen, right? Pound yen. Link it out with the red. Okay. So looking at pound yen, first things first, you want to take a look at a slightly longer term picture. So we're trying to find the daily one, and there's 3 months daily. Where did it go? Let me just pull up the weekly chart actually. So the 3-year weekly, I mean, this stock really hasn't gone anywhere. It's just kind of moving sideways over here, right? So there's really no good idea or good opportunities to really trade this name. On the weekly one, right, if you look at this area, I mean, every time in 2015 it tried to come, resistance, now it tried to find support. One good thing that I like about it is now it's on support. What you do see is forming this pin bar, right? So it tried to break down again, but actually it didn't really break down. It actually closed back up higher. Now, if you look at 6 months daily, one thing that you have to really consider is, you know what, it is still a lot of resistance areas on here, right? So I mean, if it actually bounces, there's really not much room over here. So pound yen, really nothing much to do. Let's look at euro yen on the weekly chart first. So euro yen, once again, it is in this congestion region, right? It's trying to bounce. If you look on the daily chart, just a whole bunch of congestion over here, right? I mean, if it really bounces, it might bounce some, but really not much, nothing too exciting on here. Thing with euro, dollar, yen. Let's look on the 3-year weekly. This is just a big sideways chop on here, right? If you're trying to trade this dollar yen, chances are you'll get chopped out big time, right? It's just a big hoopla over here. So really no trend on the weekly. You try to look on the daily, nothing much going on either, right? So what you look at is, if you look at these, anything which is related to yen that we talked, the euro yen that we looked at, the dollar yen, the pound yen. So it looks like, you know what, the yen really is not doing anything, right? If you do Japanese, sorry, this is pound yen. So if you do pound yen, do Japanese yen over here. Sure why this drop down is not working, but JPY, right? It's taking some time to load up. So yeah, I mean, overall the yen pair is not doing anything. If you look on anything with the US dollar pair, the euro dollar hasn't gone really anywhere. Let's see on the Aussie dollar. Let's look at the bigger picture first. Right. Nothing really much going on over here either. Right. Sure, why is this not drawing over here? Right. So if you look on this one, just this whole bunch of sideways action on here, right? So Aussie dollar, nothing going on. New Zealand dollar on the weekly, I mean, it's going into all this region again. Tills. Zoom out. Right. So, I mean, the New Zealand dollar is not doing anything. The Aussie dollar, it might bounce. Let's see, pound dollar. Pound dollar has come into this region of support over here, right? Take a look at this. Right. So, I mean, last time it came into this region, it was resistance, and now it became support. So I would say, you know what, pound dollar is a good one to look at for next week. I mean, there is potential for it to bounce. I mean, last time it became, looks like a region of support. If you look on 6 months daily, right, a lot of resistance over here as well. Right. Let's look on the Swiss franc. If you look on the Swiss franc, say 20-year weekly is too much. 3-year weekly, just moving sideways. 6 months daily, I mean, this came over in this region and kind of chops around over here, right? So today was a good time to actually short this name to actually take it down. So yeah, overall on the names, I mean, this US Canadian dollar really got smoked out, right? I mean, if you look, let's look on the longer time frame. 3-year weekly. So not going anywhere, but if you look on, let's say 6 months daily, right? So now maybe it's having this pullback, right? So it might actually come back to this region of support, the 1.31. And then we'll see how it forms, right? So US CAD looks like a name to actually watch. Euro Swiss is all in this congestion zone. So you really don't want to be looking at stuff which is in the congestion zones. You want to see something which is coming out of congestion zones, right? So this one has potential, right? I mean, this is right. So let's look at again Euro USD. Euro USD is going to be a mean reversion play. Euro Yen, nothing to do over here. Euro Swiss, nothing. US CAD is a name of interest. US dollar yen, nothing. US dollar Swiss, right? Pound dollar, pound yen. Yeah, so I mean, US CAD is really the one which looks like it's moving quite a bit. Something you want to trade. Now, in terms of to see, how much money do I really need to trade? So I'm looking at this O&A platform. So in terms of stocks, in terms of currencies, we look at in terms of pips, right? So in terms of pips, you want to be looking at, so let's say if you want to buy, the standard lot is usually 100,000, right? So for 100,000, each pip is going to be worth 13 bucks, right? So when you talk about pips, you're really talking about in terms of when the movement of the price of this Aussie dollar, right? So each pip is going to be worth 13 bucks. So if it were to move, say 100, if it moves 100 pips, then sure. If you have 100 pips, just times this by 100, you will have that number, right? So this is a demo platform that we're looking on the O&A. So if you want to trade 100,000 standard lots, you need to have a margin of 5,000. So it means you need to have at least $5,057, right? If you're a smaller trader, if you only have 500 bucks to trade, then you can trade based on 10,000 units, right? So 10,000 units, each pip is worth $1.31, right? If you want to trade even lower, you can do 1,000 units, for which you need a margin of only 50 bucks. So that's why when you see all these advertisements talking about you only need 50 bucks or 100 bucks to set up the account, that's what you can trade only something worth 1,000 units available, and each pip is only worth 13 cents, right? So I mean, if you can capture 100 pips, 13 times 100, you'll make $13. On 50 bucks, if you can make $13, that's a pretty good deal, right? I mean, that's a good percentage gainer, right? So if you can start as low as 100 bucks, right? So you try to trade this kind of units and try to go from there. So yeah, that's the basics of currency trading. Main currencies to look at to trade is the one that I mentioned on here. In terms of how the pips are being calculated, we talked about it over here as well. O&A has good charting as well. This is a charting through trading view that they have. It actually shows you the relatives, how the currencies are doing against the US dollar, right? You can do based on euro as well, how the currencies are doing against euros. So yeah, those are the basics. Any questions, hit me up. Have a good one.